5. We have a player who didn't just change the game, he transformed the entire culture of the NFL. Deion Sanders wasn't just a cornerback, he was a showman, a legend who could shut down any receiver and then turn around and burn you on offense. With primetime as your cornerback, it wasn't just about the game anymore, it was about entertainment. He played with a swagger that was completely unprecedented, and when he took the field, the whole world was watching. But it wasn't just the trash talk or the flashy celebrations that made him legendary. It was his ability to lock down wide receivers like no one else. Deion didn't just cover his man, he took them out of the game completely. And that's why quarterbacks hated throwing his way. But what if I told you Deion Sanders made a decision that shocked the entire league and left people questioning everything they knew about NFL contracts? Stay tuned to find out the shocking twist in Primetime's career that changed the way we see superstars in the NFL. At 4, we have a man who didn't just play linebacker, he redefined a position. Dick Buckus wasn't about finesse or fancy footwork, he was about pure, unadulterated violence. Every hit he delivered was a message. If you come across this line, I'm gonna make you regret it. Known for his unmatched ferocity, Buckus was a nightmare for quarterbacks and running backs alike. But it wasn't just his physicality that set him apart. It was his ability to take control of the game with his mind and his sheer will to dominate. But Buckus wasn't just feared for his on-field dominance. He was feared for his presence. When he stepped onto the field, everyone knew the Bears were coming, and there was nowhere to hide. However, there's one moment in his career that defines his legacy and sets him apart from even the most feared defenders. Stick around, because what he did that year left the league reeling, and it's something no one saw coming. At 3, we have the all-time leader in sacks. A man whose physicality and consistency made him nearly unstoppable. Bruce Smith wasn't just a defensive end, he was the definition of dominance. For 19 seasons, he terrorized quarterbacks, breaking records and leaving a trail of frustrated offensive linemen in his wake. What made Smith so dangerous wasn't just his size or his strength, it was his ability to adapt, to keep getting better year after year. No matter the competition, Bruce Smith wasn't just chasing a record, he was chasing perfection. With 200 sacks to his name, Bruce Smith didn't just leave a legacy, he redefined what it means to be a defensive end. But there's one record-breaking moment in his career that stands out as his greatest achievement, and it's not what you think. Because the moment that solidified his place in history happened in a game you might not even remember. Stick around to find out why his most iconic sack wasn't the one you'd expect. At 2, we have one of the most powerful and unstoppable defensive players in NFL history, Reggie White. Known as the Minister of Defense, White didn't just have the strength to overpower blockers, he had the mindset and the technique to make every quarterback he faced think twice before stepping into the pocket. At 6'5" and over 300 pounds, White was a physical force. But it wasn't just his size that made him legendary. It was his fundamental mastery of the game. He could beat you with speed, power, or technique, and he did it consistently for over 15 seasons. White wasn't just a nightmare for quarterbacks. He was a leader who elevated every defense he was part of. Whether it was his time with the Eagles or his Super Bowl victory with the Packers, Reggie White's presence shifted the balance of power in the NFL. But there's a moment in White's career that might surprise you. A move he made that left fans scratching their heads. It wasn't just about football. It was about his unexpected decision to join a rival team. What made Reggie White's decision so shocking? And what impact did it have on the NFL for years to come? Stick around to find out. And finally, at 1, we have a man who didn't just dominate the game, he redefined it. Lawrence Taylor was more than a linebacker. He was a tsunami of chaos, an unrelenting force who broke plays, broke game plans, and broke quarterbacks. Before LT, linebackers played behind the line. After LT, teams started drafting offensive tackles just to survive him. He was so dangerous off the edge, they had to invent new blocking schemes just to slow him down. 2 MVPs, 10 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowl rings. And yet, what made LT so terrifying wasn't just his resume. It was that on any snap, at any moment, he could end your drive or your career. And there was one play, a single brutal moment, that stopped the NFL in its tracks. The hit that changed how the league protects quarterbacks to this day. You've seen the highlights, you've heard the name, but until you understand the fear Lawrence Taylor struck into the heart of every offense, you don't really know football. And that's why, even today, no one, and we mean no one, did it like LT. Ugh. You've just seen the greatest offensive monsters in NFL history. But what happens when the league's most elite quarterbacks stare down these beasts? Click now to watch our breakdown of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now and see who's really built to survive the pressure.